Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Hey, we're coming here with another great podcast. I certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to go to our website at thechrisvossshow.com or thecvpn.com or the Chris Voss Podcast Network. .com, and you can see all the great podcasts that we take and do over there. So welcome to another episode. We certainly appreciate you guys being here. We're going to talk about some of the tech news and stories of the day. And if you can, subscribe to the podcast. You can find, of course, on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Luminary, all the great podcast syndicators out there. The Chris Voss Show is on there. If you ever want to be on the show, contact us. You can send us an email at chrisvosspodcastnetwork.com. At the top there's a place where you can send an email. We'd love to consider you for the show. And there's 8 different podcasts we have. There's a Biz podcast, talks about investing and everything else. There's a politics podcast called The Resistance Radio. I think that's pretty self-descriptive. There's a book author podcast. There's a Startup Unicorn podcast, talks about tech startups and unicorns. There's also, what else is on there? Crypto Life podcast. There's also it's VRAR podcast that deals with AI, things of that nature. That's spatial computing podcast, so you can check that as well. So 8 podcasts over there. Get a chance to subscribe. I know you guys are sitting at home. Try not to, let your kids and your spouses drive you up a wall. Get some nice headphones from like Master and Dynamic, our good friends over there. This has been keeping me sane throughout this. This is my IFIX series, DAC. And check those out, man. Listen to some stuff. We got some great interviews over there you can take and watch and see and everything else. So let's get into some of the tech news. Let's see what's going on in the world today. A lot of interesting earnings that came out today. There was Microsoft, there was Facebook. So let's get into some of it. Everybody who has online businesses right now are seeing massive DUAs, or what they call monthly daily active users, DAUs, actually, to correct that. And everyone's seeing that. Microsoft, of course, is seeing more revenue for their clouds. LinkedIn revenue is up 21%. More people are consuming, of course, because they can't go out and socialize. They're consuming their socialization activities on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, of course, is running huge as well. So this is a good time to be in that. Microsoft said Teams, their 75 million plus DAUs are up from 44 million in mid-March, 70% increase. So everyone is online consuming tech and everything else. Microsoft says Xbox Live has 90 million MAUs, that's monthly active users, up 50% year over year. And discloses Xbox Game Pass subscriber count for the first time, saying the service has 10 million plus subscribers. So that's really interesting. People are gaming. So gaming is going to be really huge. I just was on a podcast with Innovation and Tech Today. You can check them out if you Google them. I don't have the website right off the top of my thing, but I was being interviewed by the CEO of the Innovation Tech Today. They do a big magazine. We talked about a lot of different principles. We've been talking here on the Chris Voss Show episodes about what's going on in the tech world, how this is going to change our business activities, how this is going to change our societal habits. Even when things go back to normal, are we going to be remaining at home consuming media, or are we going to go out again? There's going to be a lot of different things that are going to impact that, the economy as well, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of more marketing is going to be forced to move back online, even more so than ever before. We talked about some of those things, and you've been hearing some of that discussion on the Chris Voss Show. So if you haven't got a chance, go back to the old episodes of the Chris Voss Show podcast. There's over 300 of them. So if you want to listen to some great CEO interviews and stuff that we've done, business leaders, maybe get some ideas for your own business, go back through the Chris Voss Show archives. We keep 300 of them up there for that very reason. And you've got the time now. You've got the beer. Better beer. Do I get any money for that? No. Survey of U.S. adults finds skepticism about Apple and Google's COVID-19 contact tracing efforts, with smartphone owners are split 50-50 on whether they'll use it. People are still kind of concerned about privacy. We'll get some more details on that in a second. Facebook saw a significant reduction in advertising demand. So did Spotify as well. But They both saw a massive amount of new subscribers, users on Spotify, and then more daily active users on Facebook. Their revenue was up in spite of everything. Now, I think a lot of this stuff is still pre-pandemic sort of quarter results that they're taking and doing up. But they're predicting that COVID-19 will flatten quarter two revenue. But the stock is still up. And of course, they're cleaning up their different, they're laying off people, et cetera, et cetera. This is kind of interesting. I heard that Facebook reported in those earnings that basically the equivalent of 1 out of every 2 people on the planet Earth in numbers had been on Facebook in the last 30 days. That's a lot of people being on Facebook. So that tells you how powerful they are. I still think they need to be investigated for their monopoly, and Zuck should resign. That's my opinion on it. And I don't like some of the other things Facebook is doing that are downright damn evil. But we'll get in. You probably heard me complain about that on the Chris Voss Show before as well. Lyft is laying off up to 17% of its workforce, or 982 staff, and will furlough 288 employees alongside salary cuts ranging from 10 to 30% for all of its staff. I'm kind of surprised they haven't flipped all those Lyft drivers into a grocery delivery service. I think for a long term, we're going to be in grocery delivery. I think that's going to be a thing for a while. And so I'm not sure why they're dumping that, but I guess that's their problem, right? What else do we have? This is kind of interesting. Google Meet. We talked about these guys yesterday. It used to be you would have to pay for it, and it was pretty much for enterprise. Google Meet is now free for everyone with a Google account for meetings of up to 100 people, and they're not time limited until September 30th. So they're trying to cut into some of that Zoom money. That Zoom action, even Facebook has their own thing out, which I won't use. So you've got that going on, baby. So Google Meet, I actually signed up for it. I'm waiting for the auth to kick in. You'll need a Google account to use Google Meet. But I remember the old Google Hangouts. They were so perfect for what's going on right now in this pandemic, and the quality was so good. So it'd be interesting to see what happens that way. According to sources and the Vox media outlet, Amazon has begun cracking down on communication across its widely read email listservs after employees use them to protest and organize. We saw the same sort of squashing of protesting and organization on Google, where they kind of got sick of all the Google protesting. There's a lot of protesting going on. I think one of the big issues was rights of workers and females and sexual harassment. And then the other one was the Google contracts with the government for AI and stuff. And they just felt like those were going to be abused wrongly. The government abusing technology to use against its own people? Say it isn't so. No way. That would never happen, but it does. Anyway, so they're cracking down. I guess they're getting tired. They're kind of feeling it's Amazon right now, which makes me more interested. And this isn't political because I know there's one guy who wants them investigated just because he doesn't like articles written about him. But I am concerned about Amazon's monopoly. They recently cut back everyone's affiliate pay because they're like, hey, everyone has to use this now, so screw all you people who used to refer us business. That affects the Chris Voss Show, full disclosure. But and obviously they feel like they can crack down employees. You've heard about them firing employees that spoke out against them, and some of the news articles around that, but they are having their moment. I really wish there was a good competitor to Amazon that could compete with them. I wish there was also a better competitor to Facebook, but that being said, this is a great time for people that are out of work to come up with new ideas, design new stuff, and this is usually when you see the world change. I mean, in 2008, we saw the world change from brick and mortar to go social online. We saw the rise of Twitter, Facebook, and all these different websites that were more online social stuff. And I think we're going to go through that next revolution again. So put it down on your calendar. Chris Voss said there's a new tech revolution coming. This is going to usurp a lot of change. Twitter updates its API platform to make it easier for developers and researchers to study the public conversation around COVID-19. So I guess people are going to be studying you and what you're saying online. Have fun with that. According to TechCrunch, Sensor Tower, TikTok and its Chinese version Douyin, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, Douyin, Douyin, passed $2 billion downloads on Google Play and Apple's App Store. Last quarter's 318 million downloads beat its 205 million record. I got to be honest with you, in a world where you're kind of a little depressed with what's going on in the world, getting on TikTok is hilarious and also very addictive. I spent, this is the first time I've done it, but literally last night, I spent 3 hours watching TikTok videos, trying to go to bed. And finally at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, I had to say, look, dumbass, put the phone down. But I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in, weeks. I mean, I was just laughing at some of the stuff, and they're watching the videos over and over again, sharing them on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter at Chris Voss, you'll see some of the top videos that I shared that I probably watched like 10 times, and I just was laughing to the point of you can't breathe. There's a lot of quality content on there, and the kids love it, but they're making a lot of great creative quality stuff on there. So I'm impressed. You should be impressed. If you get on there, just watch your addiction rates. That's all I got to tell you, and all that good stuff. Spotify beats with quarter one revenue and net income. They're up 31% year over year. Their premium users rose 31% to 130 million, and ad-supporting MAUs rose 32%. They did see a decline in their ad revenue, but that's, a lot of people are cutting back. But the fact that they grew in users and an advertising base, that means advertisers are going to want to go there. And that's great for me. The Chris Voss Show and all 8 podcasts are on Spotify. So if you're over there on Spotify, you can Google our podcast, consume all 8 of them. You can watch all the shows, everything else. We love Spotify. In fact, Spotify, if you don't know it, I'll put a plug in here and we'll call it what do you want to call it? We're giving disclosure. We're on there. Self-promotion plug. But when we submit any new podcast to all the different podcast syndications, the first people who get it online is Spotify. They are hungry. They're caring. They're loving. They got a great portal for us. I've tried using the iTunes portal. It's a nightmare. And, iTunes will take up to 5 days to get a video podcast approved. But man, Spotify, man, boom, they rubber stamp that thing. Way you go. They're putting good content on there. I love my Spotify, and thanks to them for being so cool all the time. Spotify says game and TV console usage is up 50% due to the pandemic. That means people are watching Spotify on gaming consoles and everything else. They're using those apps that come on iTunes or Xbox and PS4. Spotify also says there's an increased consumption of wellness podcasts and searches for terms like chill. I know there's a lot of chicks being hit on dating sites. That was one of the news reports that came in a major news thing where all these guys are home alone trying to get some Netflix and chill going on, and the girl's like, I'm not coming to get the virus. So there's that. Have fun with dating in 2020. Facebook announced Blender, an open source chatbot aimed at AI research that has been trained on 9.4 billion parameters. Watch for that to violate your privacy, as Facebook does everything else. Fuck Facebook. Fuck Zuck. And I hope he resigns and we get some new management in Facebook. And the 47 attorney generals who are investigating them finish. What else do we have? Amazon bought thermal cameras to check worker temperatures from Dwa, a Chinese company blacklisted by the U.S. over alleged help monitoring minorities. So that's according to Reuters. You can check out that story. According to Political, Amazon lists Amazon websites in Canada, UK, Germany, France, and India as notorious markets for counterfeit goods. The move carries no penalty. I'm sure that's politically motivated against the stories that he keeps getting in the Washington Post and complaining about. He's trying to get the U.S. Postal Service. You want to follow the politics of those stories, you can go to theresistanceradio.com, our Resistance Radio podcast, and check that out as well. What else do we have in here? Salesforce details its AI economist built in partnership with the Harvard economist that helps design policies by modeling the impact of different tax rates. So that's on the agenda there. And eBay reports their quarter revenues are down 2% year over year. Buyers up 2%. but their GMV fell 1%. So, fuck eBay. It's just a shit show over there. Such a poorly managed company, in my opinion. And selling anything on there is just a garbage trash bin of Nigerians and fake buyers and deceptive and people that want really great stuff for 25 cents and they can only afford it. So that's why they're on there. If you want to sell something good, go sell it used on Amazon. You can actually set up a seller account and do it over there. I highly recommend that. eBay is just, every time I go back to eBay for the last 5 years, it's just a toilet bowl of fucking sales. I imagine there's some people that are doing well on it, selling some sort of products, but I can't find any reason to sell used products over there. What else do we have on here? Reddit launches Start Chatting, a new tool that lets users start a chat room with up to 7 randomly selected users within a subreddit. What could go wrong there? Depending upon the subreddit. I guess if you're a heavy Reddit user in subreddits, that might be interesting. Is it video chat or is it just chat? I guess it's chat. I don't think you want to see some of the people on Reddit. I am throwing shade. Mojo Vision, which is building AR contact lenses, raises $51 million. Series B1, led by NEA, bringing its total raise to $159 million. Screw Google Glass, you're going to have AR contact lenses. That's going to be weird. I have contact lenses that are really crazy, and they're custom made for my left eye, and they have a soft contact or hard contact inside a giant soft contact that holds my cornea up. It's not the most funnest thing to wear. I mean, after a while you get used to it, but putting it in, taking it out, and just sometimes having this gargantuan thing that takes a lot of moisture out of your eye tears. I can't imagine what that's like with AR contact, but I don't know, maybe we'll all be like the Terminator. We'll have this one eye going, I'll be back, and it's red and shit. That might be cool. I don't know, freak people out. I'll be back. So there you go. Anyway, it's kind of interesting, some of the different things that are going on in the world. I talked about this podcast on Innovation Tech today, so I'll give them a plug. We're going to have the CEO on here in the next short while, so watch for that. But one of the things that's going to happen is we're going to get so used to this sort of environment, not only of staying at home socially, being at home more often, but a lot of people are going to be out of work, sadly, and being at home, they're going to be cooking more and everything else. If you're marketing, you want to market to this captive audience of what's going on. We talked about that on the podcast. You also want to start designing products and marketing, and you want to start marketing on the internet more, because that's what people are doing. Our YouTube views are up, our podcasts are up, everything's up because people are stuck at home in a captive market. Give them entertainment, and they will consume it. So there you go. Anyway, guys, that's it for the show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Be sure to give the show a like. Subscribe to on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Chris Voss. You can see like 3,500 product reviews, different things that we promoted over the years, interviews with great CEOs. It's all on the Chris Voss Show. On YouTube, you can see it on chrisvossshow.com, on Chris Voss Podcast Network.com. You can actually submit if you're a book author, you want to come talk about your book, submit to the show. If you want to come on the show, you're a business executive, CEO, whatever the case may be, any different fields of the 8 different podcasts we talk about, you can come on there as well, or at least submit. We'll take a look at what your promotion is. We try and bring on guests that are cool, interesting, and got a good vibe to them, and can, that aren't going to put our audience to sleep like me. Yeah, there you go, man. So check out all those podcasts. Refer your friends, neighbors, relatives, dogs, cats, pool boys, mistresses. Get them all listening to the Chris Voss Show. Certainly appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.